I think Tyler would have been fine.
Okay, well, let's see how the next game goes out. Both players have moved on to their secondary decks, which means Tyler is on this more, anti-aggro build of the Vex Crow, 1 Giggling Inventor, and 2 Acidic Swampoos, which means the weapon A is there, and it wasn't in game number 1, whereas BloodTrail has moved on to double Hench Clan Thug, the Sap, and 2 Walk the Planks, and that Chef Nomi, Ziliax, and the weapon removal has been taken out to make room for that.
Okay, we see the starting hands here. Tyler has Mountain Giant and Conjurer's Calling, but recognizes that that's not necessarily the cards that he wants against BloodTrail. With the addition of Vex Crow, this might be exactly what he's looking for. He also finds an Arcane Intellect, which is nice. BloodTrail starting off with no coin, which makes it a bit more difficult to activate stuff, but when you have Preparation, Raiding Party, and Miscreant, you get by.
Yeah, just a note as well, BloodTrail, we've seen some lists with no backstabs, but that's mainly for anti-warrior. Right. BloodTrail does have the backstabs available, so however much I do love playing Sorcerer's Apprentice on 2 and then hoping it lives, it may not be the best course of action, really, for Tyler here. So I think you can take it slow and just see what happens. And I don't know about you, Language Hacker, but I feel like there's hidden text on Evil Miscreant that says always starts in your opening hand, because I feel like we haven't cast a game that there's not been an Evil Miscreant to play on curve if required.
I mean, the Dalaran heist is going on right now. They're going to be seeping out everywhere.
Yep, they're going to be all over the show. And now another prep into Raiding Party. Just these plays are really the backbone of the deck, and Tyler is upset.
He was concerned it might have been an Edwin. Again,
okay, yeah,
it was only prep Raiding Party.
Same as last game, right?
Yeah.
It's just like prep Raiding Party, please no. And it's another reason not to play a minion, right? If it does get backstabbed, that hurts. But it also buffs an Edwin, as it's an extra playable card for BloodTrail.
The interesting thing with this version of the Conjurer Mage, when you're on the coin and you play Arcane Intellect on 3 with Giant in hand, what you can do is on turn 4 with the coin go Elemental Evocation, Mountain Giant, coin, Conjurer's Calling. The Elemental Evocation discounts the Giant by 2, but loses a card in hand, so effectively discounting the Giant by 1, making it 2 mana, which means on turn 4, if you spend 5 mana with the Giant and the coin conj, you can make 2 big minions.
I like that play. And that's good to know, though, because the evocation's often a little bit weird to see with the Mountain Giant the first couple of times you try it. I've definitely pressed it and gone, oh no, that was wrong. Completely don't have the mana to do what I want to do now. And I don't see a reason for Tyler not to do that, do you? I mean,
I think that's quite possibly just the only play you can make this turn that makes a lot of sense. You can go Vex Crow, coin, some other stuff. It's not quite there. The following turn you could go Vex Crow, coin, Sorcerer's Apprentice, and then some cheap spells. But I think we wanna see the Giant come out here.
Tyler looks a little bit perplexed here, trying to work out some different plays, but I struggled to get past 2 massive dudes that, 1 might have taunt, but 2, it doesn't really matter at this point in the game. And it means that if the weapon's swung in, then either it bounces something that you don't want to bounce, that they don't want to bounce anyway, or it's going to deal the damage regardless. So yeah, I mean, Tyler just taking his time considering the plays, I guess, but this looks fantastic to me.
Yep. Good to consider other options. I mean, when there's the one obvious play, it doesn't hurt to go over everything else and see, is there something better I can do that might be a bit more, harder to find.
And now what does BloodTrail need to do now to deal with this? Because the true fear of this play is that there's a second Conjurer's Calling in hand.
So you have
it's
to
a nightmarish scenario. So what's the plan now? What does BloodTrail have to do? Think long-term, short-term?
I'm looking at this Ethereal Lack in hand, and I'm hoping he finds perhaps a Sap, a Walk the Plank, a Betrayal even.
Yeah.
I mean,
get the job done pretty nice.
Yeah, the secondary list that BloodTrail switched to does have 1 copy of Sack and two copies of Walk the Plank. None of those in hand right now, so it's difficult to deal with these 2 Grave Horrors. It's looking like he might have to try to punch through these the hard way, and if he doesn't clear both of them this turn, it means that Tyler can use the second part of Conjurer's Calling on whatever's left on the board to, again, make 2 minions.
Yeah, it's rough. And also, this is just a lot of resources and a lot of damage as well. Like, this is damage he can't do to Tyler's face. And look, speaking of Tyler's face, but his actual camera face, he seems impressed and happy about this play because this looks quite weak.
I'm very surprised to see... Okay, I see. This way BloodTrail is actually able to clear both minions, but I'm surprised that he discovered the Ethereal Lackey after trading in the deck hands.
Yeah, he could have just gone with that first, right? And just if it was vanished, then great. Couldn't have played it this turn, of course, but still there are other options that he could have played.
Oh my goodness, imagine if that had been cleared, we'd be seeing
This would be another 2-0?
With so many resources gone, Tyler could consider just playing out the Vex Crow with just a magic trick. He opts for the Ziliax instead, maybe waiting one extra turn to get some more guaranteed value with the Vex
I like
Crow
one extra turn.
and the Apprentice, right?
The only time I think it would be a little bit better to do it now is if it was actually Mirror Image and not Magic Trick.
Then the Vex Crow is a little
because
protected.
then it's more minions, it's a little bit more protected, a little bit safer. But Ziliax, decent play as well, because even at worst, which you'd have to say this is worst case scenario, you've gained 3 health, pulled out a backstab, and your opponent's had to, not had the most impactful turn with the mana anyway.
Very quick Vex Crow Apprentice. All right, good. Tyler slowing down, considering. Is there anything else he can do?
No, go.
There is a play where you could go Sorcerer's Apprentice, Khadgar, and the second half of the Conjurer's Calling becomes 2 mana with the Sorcerer's Apprentice discount. So you could make Khadgar and 4 2-drops, but I think that this is probably just the way to go.
Same job but better, right? You can hold the Conjurers, hold the Khadgar. And also this Discovered spell might be pretty cheap too. Yeah,
So
I
quick.
love doing this. It's so sick. Oh, this deck.
Master Swordsmith coming out.
Let's go try and kill it too.
Second copy of Ray of Frost. Magic Dart Frog coming in as well.
Okay.
If these 3 missiles hit face, the Dart Frog still dies. Cheaty Ankle Biter.
I believe Magic Dart Frog is actually one of Admirable's favorite cards based off his cast earlier today.
And this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, this deck is so flexible.
And this also steps straight into a Sea Giant. You've
Right.
generated your own Sea Giant board.
All of these game plans kind of synergize with each other, and it's amazing to see how this deck can perform.
And the big problem here is, like, BloodTrail can vanish, right? And put it all back in hand.
Right.
Then Tyler just replays it all and says, well, what now? Like,
Right.
do you have a second vanish randomly? I don't know.
I mean,
So
this
is a
probably
big
just
problem.
has to be vanished.
Yeah, it's too much, but now it's just, BloodTrail just buys a turn to see what he draws. Ooh, Burn on the Giggins hurts a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
He's just checking what the cards
Yeah,
do.
he's like,
Now
wait a
he's like,
second.
wait, what did I get?
So now without cheap spells in hand, he does have to consider which of these minions he wants to play onto the board.
I think triple 2-drop probably seems fine, and you probably aim towards the ones with the highest health, leave the cheaty ankle biter anyway.
Yep. I mean, the cheat ankle biter you can use as removal, right? The Battlecry does deal 1 damage. I think that's the best way to go. You can hold the Apprentice in case you draw some other spells later to work with. You can hold the ankle biter for removal, and this just creates...
He's not lost a Death Rattle minion, right?
Yeah.
Oh, you need it on board, actually.
Yeah, you need
what
it
am
on
I
board,
talking about?
yeah.
The card would actually be nuts if it was from deck. What am I talking
That
about?
would be pretty crazy.
Easy 2-mana mecha.
With BloodTrail using all of those resources early, I mean, the mage is at 23 health right now. The game plan of the rogue has kind of been stomped out for a bit. With Myers in hand, there's still a hope that BloodTrail can come out on top here.
The Rush addition is going to be nice to help just clear up 1 extra minion, and it does mean that this green skin is actually just still safe on board. Tyler doing the quick finger pointing counting that we've all done once or twice in our careers, of just having to just wave at the screen whilst you're counting to be able to keep track.
I think he's trying to count what he can play on board to perhaps get the Sea Giant out, or if that's just not good enough and he wants to consider something else instead. With the Rabble Bouncer pickup at 8 mana, he could play the Rabble Bouncer and Conjurer's Calling it, but that leaves the green skin up and opens him up to taking a bit of extra damage that he might not want to. From BloodTrail's perspective, in this matchup, you want to be very aggressive early, but if you lose board, like what happened this game, you can't just go upstairs when your hand is exactly what this is, because you don't have enough reach. You go upstairs and then you just fall short.
Right.
So he's fighting for board, which was done nicely, and with the Myras, he might be able to find some cards that close out the game. But he is not running Nomi, so he'll have to get some pretty decent cards off of that.
I do think I guess he's not going for it. Okay. I was just honestly considering just Rabble Bouncer into the Conjurer's Calling and just say, I just want some big dudes on the board and ask if they can do anything back. But now Tyler's instead choosing to go wider with his board and just create multiple 2-drops instead. Oh, if only he still had Ziliax.
Okay. Sets to go wide, set up for Sea Giant next turn. Decides that having multiple smaller minions is better than having 2 large-ish minions with the Rabble Bouncer at 7 mana.
And I guess as well another nod to actually the difference in the tertiary decks. In the if he just goes wide with if he just goes deep with that 2 7-drops and the walk the plank is there, well that 4 mana nullifies one of them instantly.
Right.
And maybe he's got a sap or maybe he's got another walk the plank. And then your whole turn was just wasted, and BloodTrail can deal with them very very efficiently. One thing as well is that Khadgar has to be dealt with, right? And yes, the dagger very cleanly kills it, but it's also 2 damage that isn't going face, and you've also got value from Khadgar that turn.
I think you just say, all right, if you have other summoning things at this point, I'm not winning this game. So he's going to say, all right, let me get rid of this final bit of life steal you have, and let's try to close out the game with Myra's.
Maybe I'm just, you know, have too many mental blocks on Khadgar, just absolutely demolishing me in games.
Good ordering here, getting on the Rabble Bouncer, making sure the Giant can be played with the second Rabble Bouncer, trading something off before killing off the Dread Corsair, making sure that the second Rebel Bouncer also costs 4. Now I think this might seal the deal. We'll have to see what
BloodTrail
comes.
just needs another Vanish.
Yeah.
Well,
the thing is, even with the Myras, I believe both Life Drinkers have been played. So,
I think so.
There's not that much over-the-top damage you can even find off of Myras. I mean, it is the play, so let's see what happens to pop out here. We do see a Walk the Plank. If a prep was picked up as well, we would have been able to go preparation, walk the plank, and then Edwin and maybe have a chance. For now, we have to get rid of the 8/8, make sure we don't take too much damage. And now it's back on Tyler.
Yeah, now Tyler actually running empty on spells, which is a big deal. And although the board and the play last turn was fantastic, the actual power of the minions that are left is very low after that Walk the Plank has removed the Giant. So going from 14 damage this turn to 6 is a big leap.
So Tyler just needs to load up the board. He's considering if he wants to play the Sandbind or the Vextro. If he plays Sandbind and gets a Mountain Giant, it's 1 mana too expensive. It would cost 8 mana. So he opts for playing the Vextro over that for the extra power on board.
With fatigue kicking in, 2 Vex Crows are still going to hit for 3, so you know they might not be getting the fancy special effects off, but BloodTrail is going to be on 2 fatigue next turn as well, which means that only a few of these minions need to hit, and BloodTrail is not even going to let it happen as Tyler takes a 2-0 victory and showing that Mage can fight back today, and it's not going to be a day full